Kentucky Oaks Mall in Paducah. Welcome to the darkest chapter of the Kentucky adventure, as this is quite a bland mall. While it's decently tenanted, the nicest way I could describe this mall is sleek and soulless. Let's get it over with. As a Cafaro original, Kentucky Oaks Mall opened its doors for the first time in 1982, positioned on US Route 60 just southwest of Interstate 24. With original anchors JCPenney, Ben Snyder's, and a rare Mize department store, the mall was well positioned for an audience spread between locals in Paducah as well as travelers on the interstate and beyond. Although not quick getting off the ground, Kentucky Oaks Mall itself acted as an anchor in establishing a retail corridor for the city of Paducah, and in 1989, the mall would gain a venture store as its fourth anchor. Around this time, other anchors were going through changes, with Mize getting acquired and rebranded as Elder-Beerman that same year. Meanwhile, earlier in 1987, Hess's would move in to replace Ben Snyder's via acquisition. Venture also didn't last very long, closing in 1998 with Shopko taking its place a year later. Dillard's also arrived on the scene, replacing Hess's in 1994. Around 2000, there were rumors that CBL and Associates would purchase the mall. However, beyond a statement from the owners of the mall, there was no evidence that this sale ever went through. In fact, Cafaro remains as the primary owner of this mall to this day, at least as of the making of this video. The 2000s were proving to be rather turbulent as Shopko closed around 2001. 2 years later, K's Merchandise Mart, legally distinct from Kmart, would take Shopko's place. And to compete with the big box sensation happening around them, Kentucky Oaks Mall would sign on Best Buy and Old Navy as junior anchors, but later on in 2006, K's Merchandise would be forced to liquidate all assets after losing a court case in which a judge declared their advertising was deceptive. Despite this loss, however, the mall was picking itself back up, gaining a Hollister and New York & Company as inline tenants. And in 2010, K's Merchandise was little more than a memory as their vacancy was filled in by Dick's Sporting Goods. Sears would undergo its usual phase of the world's slowest liquidation sale, with the Kentucky Oaks location being one of 235 properties spun off to Seritage Growth Properties. And in 2017, Sears would officially close. Meanwhile, Elder-Beerman would depart the mall in 2018 when its parent company, Bon-Ton, liquidated all assets during bankruptcy. While dead anchors are never a good sign for a healthy mall, Cafaro did announce a redevelopment plan, intent on reconfiguring the empty Sears building to make way for smaller box stores, which would bring forward Burlington and Ross Dress for Less. Meanwhile, the empty Elder-Beerman would be overhauled to make way for Five Below and Home Goods. This at least kept the mall in good standing, and even attracted the attention of H&M. Overall, Kentucky Oaks Mall stands as one of Cafaro's successful malls, remaining a regional destination for Paducah and beyond. Unfortunately, I personally believe this mall is dragged down by its latest renovation. Not only is it bland and uninspiring, but this mall, along with the Governor's Square Mall in Tennessee, are practically twins of each other with this latest renovation. Despite my problems with their modern architecture, Cafaro has at least proven that they can manage successful malls. Okay, for clarification, the footage here was collected during the Mall Walkers Hour. You'll see things slowly winding up for the day as we progress. Although, of course, that still doesn't stop people from pretending that I captured all of this on a Friday afternoon. While I can't get myself to appreciate the way this mall looks, I'm at least acknowledging that this mall is no slouch. It's decently tenanted, it has all of its anchors occupied, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. Considering I was here in March, their Easter display was also pretty good. I did look a little bit into the city of Paducah itself, and it's a bit of a mixed bag with plenty of history as well as hardship, from nuclear facilities to disastrous floods. Now, while it is capable of supporting this mall, I noticed its population figures have sort of stagnated, peaking at 35,000 residents around the 60s before dwindling back down to 25,000 in 2010. However, the latest numbers do show that the population is starting to grow again. It'll be curious to see how Paducah fares in the coming years, but there's always the possibility that a disaster can ruin its progress, with it being prone to flooding, or worse, a tornado, as demonstrated by Mayfield. Hope everyone's doing okay from that, too, while on the subject. If there is one thing I've noticed, Kentucky has overbuilt a fair amount of its infrastructure, most notably being its roadways. While Interstate 24 hasn't seen too many improvements, they've utilized better optimized interchanges as well as larger boulevards to move traffic. And in most cases, traffic manages to stay light on these things. Now, I'll bring this up at other malls since I've been on roadways that almost lock up from the overwhelming amount of traffic, but it seems Kentucky has made some real efforts to future-proof its roadways, so that we don't end up with situations like Northern Virginia, Los Angeles, or even Tennessee and South Carolina. Those two in particular are deceptively horrendous, and shows where car-centric designs can just flat-out fall apart. But I'll save that for when we cover malls in those states. Now, let's get back on topic. Let's focus on Kentucky Oaks Mall itself. Normally, I would suggest some ideas to improve the mall, but beyond my grievances about the atmosphere and its current architecture, I don't really have many ideas, as Cafaro seems to be ahead of keeping their mall viable. At least here. As I've mentioned before, all of its anchors are occupied, but one thing I do see is a sort of vacancy rot starting to form in the inlines. Hopefully Cafaro can address this. Seeing as shopping and dining are already covered, I would suggest entertainment, though I don't think Paducah is a viable enough market for a tilt studio or round one. And even then, there's already a family fun center covering that base. So that just leaves one more suggestion. Look at the area and see what is missing. See what the locals want with their mall. Alright, I believe we're just about ready to wind down and get back on the road. What did you think of the Kentucky Oaks Mall? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you have any objections about the way this mall looks, or am I just being too much of a hipster on that front? Do share your thoughts and insight down below in the comments. Or, if you have memories of the past with this mall, feel free to share those as well. But do stick around and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are going to dig into some quirky little malls on our way to Louisville and beyond. Thanks for having me, Paducah, Kentucky. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Kentucky Oaks Mall farewell and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world.